disappointing finish for us playoff-wise last year, and a bit heartbreaking, but I think they were able to get over it a little bit just by seeing the energy and supporting their friends on the men's team, and knowing that the guys had a good shot at winning it too, which was always exciting for the host. And I think that the whole school rallied around the Bears that weekend in the whole of athletics, and I know that our men's team really appreciated the energy that our team brought to the games every night. And while I hope that they're their own national championships that week, if they're not, I would kind of hope that they'll be there to support our athletes too, because they did such a phenomenal job for them last year. What I do think from that tournament was that our institution got to see what hosting a national basketball championship looks like and can feel like, and the energy it can bring to a student body, and it was really fun to be a part of.
We learned a lot, especially from our individual game, a lot about how to come together as a team and get things done in high pressure situations, and I think that there's a lot of reflecting for us on that game and how much was on the line and what we need to do in the future to get to a moment like that again and come out victorious.
We had quite a bit of fans there. A lot of our parents came, which was nice, but there wasn't a lot of people in general that were out at the games, but the atmosphere was still pretty good.
So that was the first big loss that I really felt, being a youth sports player. So it definitely motivated me for this year. I don't want to lose the quarters. I want to make it to Can West Finals and Nationals this year.
Well, we got upset in our first game in quarterfinals, so that was a lot. I'm from Regina, and we lost to Regina, so personally a little tough for me especially, but it was definitely it was a good experience for us. We're a young team. We lost some key players in that game, but it was good to learn how to lose and how to battle back, how to keep going in the long run during postseason. It takes grit, it takes intensity, lots of hard work, and I think that really motivated us to really stick it out for the long season here this year. It's awesome. I love the U of A. Like I said, I'm from Regina, so different atmosphere growing up. Regina's a lot smaller, so the community is a lot more, everybody knows each other. In Alberta, I felt very, very welcomed right from the get, especially here at the U of A. Our team is like a family, we're like sisters, so I felt like I moved here and I didn't know anybody, but I had a built-in family waiting for me, and that has continued to happen throughout my 5 years here.
It's awesome. On my individual team, we have such a great family culture and around basketball and around our relationships, and it's really fun to be a part of. I think this school really endorses athletics, and we get really great crowds out compared to other schools that I've seen, so it's a really fun thing to be a part of. It's high energy and it's really fun.
Basketball culture here is awesome. I feel lots of people are really involved in it, and our personal team culture is what really drew me here. I think that as a school we're really involved with our sports, and that makes it really fun.
I think the commitment to training has evolved over time, and I think that more importantly, that off-season training piece. The teams that I started with, we were great in season training, but when the summers came around, the springtime came, they kind of took off, did their job in the summertime, and we didn't see them a heck of a lot. And I think that has changed a lot on both programs probably, and even just across Canada West, but specifically to our school, I just think the level of training year-round has sort of evolved, and I think that's been a neat adventure for us.
I love that you hit that shot, but we've got to work on moving the basketball, not taking the first shot that touches our hand on the first side. We're going to get that shot on every single possession against their big coming out to the corner. So I don't want to get in the habit of just taking that first one. I want to execute against the zone, okay? Screen in was great. Now big post up here. Demand the ball off that float, okay?
Okay, well, I came here partially because of school, because there's a really good engineering program, and also just the program. The pandas basketball program is really great. The culture here is lovely. I love it, and the team as a whole.
Well, some of that was personal, just between teams, some opportunity things. My older sister actually played at Regina, so it was kind of a hard decision staying with family or leaving. But I just, from the moment I came here on my recruiting visit, I just absolutely love the atmosphere. I love the team. I love the coaches, and then also school plays a factor as well. That this is a really great program here, but the atmosphere is just awesome. I think Regina has a great atmosphere as well. just different, and I just felt welcomed and at home here.
I would say, I mean, I don't know a lot about other programs. I know here sports are pretty highly endorsed at the U of A, and we get great crowds out. Obviously not as much as the men's, unfortunately, so there's always more hype around that, and there can be more for women's basketball hopefully in the future, but I would say it's pretty good. It's like I'm limited to just this school, but I would say it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that idea of moving away from home is a tough one, right? You can't win that battle. If an athlete decides that it's in there, that's what they were looking for, that adventure of leaving home. They're just not, they don't see Edmonton as a place they want to live, or the U of A as a place they want to go to school. There's not really, you're not going to change that kind of idea, that commitment to them going away from school. But I do think the ones that have really been interested in playing here and then chosen another school, I think ones that have done their best research and chosen another place, usually it was because like maybe the way they're going to get coached, or the style of play at another institution might fit them better, and I think that's fine. I mean, we're not going to be right for everybody, and we can't be, but the athletes that do come to us, we're really excited because they've really bought into who we are and what we see as our future development, and the ones that have picked other places have really done so in good choices too, and kind of found the right fit for them. And I would say that it's just a lot to do with play style. I think the type of athlete that chooses our school versus another institution are definitely committed to themselves academically and have a really strong commitment to their pursuit academically, whether that's just for their undergrad and then into a job, or undergrad into graduate school. I think they're very committed to their school, and if they want to choose our institution, it's a tough place to go to school and to play university sports, and so you have to be committed on that end first. So we do have to really make sure that we are really aware of that in our recruitment and talking to our athletes and helping them understand that. It doesn't mean you need to be a 95 student, and only those ones are going to succeed here. We've had lots of kids who maybe not had the best grades in high school, but have really committed to themselves when they got here academically. On the basketball side, I think what draws athletes to our institution and our program is the culture of the community. Just the way the athletes treat each other, their bonds that they build within our team and into their alumni group. And I think that whole large Panda family is what draws me to play here.
I think women's basketball is something that is growing for sure in our province. We do have a lot of community stuff going on, a lot of stuff with younger girls, which I think is really awesome. As a Panda, we try to do a lot of engagement with especially the youth in our community, and we have like kids coming out to our games and stuff, and I think that's really important. Just getting people excited about the game and getting people excited about women's sport. So I think it's come a long way. We have some growth that we could definitely do, but I'm happy to see where it's headed.
I mean, obviously there's always more that can be done for women's sports, always. As far as opportunity goes, there is a lot of places to go and throughout all age groups, so I do think that there's a lot of good opportunities here.
I coached the U15 Pandas team this year, which was super eye-opening, especially now that COVID is kind of coming to an end. We can get some more girls out. It's going to be super important this year especially to get those community programs going, younger girls getting in. The growth we saw from these 15-year-olds was absolutely exponential. So I think that there's a lot of learning and a lot of basketball programming that can go in this year that'll be really beneficial for the community.
I definitely think there's an opportunity for growth just because I feel like we can get more girls exposed to being on better teams and being in better programs and being with girls that are more similar to their skill level. In the past, I think that's been an issue where we have teams that aren't as good, and that's something that I've experienced, and so I feel like there's a real chance for growth in competitive girls basketball.
I think that the game is growing, both the men's and women's side. I mean, the Raptors do a great job of building the game of basketball in our country. I love that they get out. They play an exhibition game in Edmonton. That's huge. Having the senior women's national team train here, and sometimes even the junior or cadet level athletes in our community, in our building, training here just adds excitement for the youth players. I think it's a really kind of an interesting time for our sport in the landscape. There's some, I think what's going to happen in general, honestly, for high school sport is it's probably going to wean off a little bit more. It's just becoming more difficult on the high school scene or the junior high scene for coaching and resources and facilities. And so that might wean a little away. We'd probably see more to the club circuit, more like in Europe. But if we're going to go down the road of making clubs more important than their high school and junior high experiences, then we need to do a really good job of coach education, parent education, athlete development, so that these kids are getting a really professionalized experience. And I think the clubs are working really hard towards that too. I see Basketball Alberta working towards that even just this past weekend with a conversation they were having with the clubs in our community, and I'm sure they're having it in others, around just the professionalization of the club circuit and what it could look like or what it should look like. And then the biggest thing though is we've got to get some athletes that are wanting to get into officiating too, because if we don't have officials and good officials, the game's going to fall apart for us. So it's four pillars there that are going to have to work together to make sure our game grows in this province.
I think just showing different aspects of the game, like not just certain players, like our whole team, and showing that we're really passionate about basketball, and like we have fans that are super passionate about basketball, I think draws in a lot of people. So just continuing to expose other people to that, including students, will improve our turnout.
So something that has gotten better this year is we do have a bit more social media coverage. I think for the last 4 years, we've been pretty frustrated that the only coverage we really get is from people just making their own personal edits on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. I would say that in past years especially, the men's games are definitely getting a bit more hype because you get more of those independent creators filming their stuff, editing their stuff, whereas for us it's a bit more of a, you kind of have to not beg, but you do have to ask for people to do that. So I think the U of A could do a bit better on that social media coverage, because that does produce a lot of hype.
I think that right now, especially in this generation, like social media is super huge and important, and with a lot of like youth online and a lot of this generation that's getting older online and using social media, that can be a huge tool for promoting women's sports, women's basketball, anything like that. So I think social media can be used really well.
That's a good question. I think that the crowds have definitely ebbed and flowed. Like when I started, we were still on main campus in the main gym in the Van Fleet Center. There's hockey games each night too, and so there's a lot of energy and vibe in that building, which was really fun to be around. So you'd see people in the crowds going back and forth between the hockey rink and the main gym to watch the games, and so we had different kind of crowds that came to those events, and maybe a few more student body. The students on campus from residents would come over. Now that we're down at Salvo, we've been here for 10 years now, so it started pretty big crowds, mostly as any new building happens. People are excited to see it. So I think we had that kind of bleed and crowds being excited for the new place. And then as we've gotten into time here, I would say that the quality of the CanWest schedule has a lot to do with what our crowds are like. So if we don't see traditional CanWest rivals for multiple years in a row, we kind of lose that sort of rivalry opportunities. We try to kind of do that with Calgary, make sure we play them every year. That's great for both institutions and great for both cities. But like losing out on, we have Victoria coming in this weekend, but we haven't had them in Edmonton in 4 years. And we'll play at UBC this year in a couple weeks, but we haven't played there in 4 years. And so when we don't have those old traditional rivalries, I think we've lost some of the crowds over time. But we got to make them up in other ways, right? There's some new rivalries coming in, and we got to get the crowd invested in those kind of games too. We got a team in our city now that's in the league and have been for a while. And like those rivalries with McEwen could be great if we can get the community out again.
I think it's just an exposure thing, and over the last couple of years, we've had a lot more creative videos, a lot more TikToks, a lot more stuff on Instagram being made about us, which I think is really cool. And just people seeing that on their feed is really great for women's sport in general. I think U of A has it's gotten increasingly better throughout my career. I have been here for 5 years now, so it's gotten a lot better social media wise. We have seen a lot more advertisement for our games and a lot more just kind of hype around what we do every day. So that's been really good to see. I think social media is such a great tool for increasing awareness of what's going on here. So I think that's something that could really be improved upon. But for now, like it has been increasing and it's gotten a lot better over the years. So pretty happy with that.
You know, I think that so far the U of A has been doing a really great job. There's a quite big social media presence, just advertising the games in general, how students can get tickets, different things like that. They'll put on kind of different events around the games. So I think that they've been doing a really good job so far of getting students out. So
I think what can be done to promote is just like in the youth groups for sure, just adding more like knowledge about playing after high school or playing club. Like I don't think there's as many opportunities for women in sport. So I think just being able to like educate females when they want to be competitive in sport is super important, and giving them the right paths to do that.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that the Siebel League has done a nice job for the U Sport male athletes, and we would hope that eventually there'll be something similar can start on the women's side. I think that there is a market for it. I think people want to see our athletes play. I know I would love to watch Evan Carey play in the city again some more after she's finished playing as a Panda. I do think there's a market for it, and I do think that there's some energy around it. I know that more women that are playing our game talk about playing professionally after their U Sports careers are over, where early in my career they didn't really do that. They didn't see many opportunities for themselves, and the jobs were few and far between for Canadian athletes. But I think those jobs now are coming more frequently, and the opportunity to do it at home would just be better for them.
you know, I think it's been really great for basketball as a whole in Canada. I think that a lot more people are getting interested in the sport, especially with there's U Sport players playing in the CEBL. So I think for women, it would be really great if there was something like that too, just to generate interest and like a following kind of.
Yeah, I think like for instance, the CEBL here has been huge development, I think, for men's basketball, especially in Edmonton, all over Canada. And I think that sort of project would be totally achievable for women's basketball in Canada. You have the people that would want to play. I know so many people from U Sports leagues who go and play in Europe for years after they're done their eligibility. And I think that women would be willing and wanting to play here in Canada if they could, if there was the opportunity for that, just because the WNBA isn't always the most plausible for everyone, and lots of the WNBA players end up playing in Europe as well. So I think that that's a totally achievable thing that could happen in Canada for us.
Yeah, I think that pro sports is expanding. Like the CEBL is only a few years old, and it's, I guess, limited to men's right now, but that can always change in the future, and hopefully it does. I think there's a lot of talent in Alberta especially, and women's basketball can be overlooked sometimes for pro sports, but I think there's a huge opportunity to spread pro basketball out into, like, for females, and especially here.
I think we do get a good turnout, but most of the time it comes in the second half of our game for the lead up to the men's, that we can get more people out just by showing them that like Pandas games are exciting. Like we've had close games last weekend and stuff, and just kind of promoting that atmosphere. I feel like in Alberta the fans are normally pretty passionate about basketball itself, and I think that leads to like good team culture and fan culture. And I know at U of A we have lots of alumni come out and different fans, and it's just awesome to always see fans at different levels.
You know, I think that this year has been nice after COVID. I think that there's a lot more people that are actually interested in watching games. Like we've had our home opening weekend, obviously there was a lot of people that came out, and that was really great. Lots of students are coming out to watch, and it's more fun to play in front of people, so it's nice.
I think so. We, like I said, we get a lot of fans out, but I think we could get more engagement with the community going on, and some more engagement with the school as well. Because I think we could have a lot more students at the U of A out to our games.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I think our school does such a nice job hosting events. I know all the opponent teams that are going to come for that event are going to be excited about what the organizing committee is going to do for them, and the feel that they're going to have on our campus, in the Saddle Center, in the city, and the energy around that event is going to be amazing. It's been a long time that we've been bidding to try to host this, and I'm excited about it for myself and for our athletes. I think they are just so pumped up after seeing what happened with the men's championship in 22 and seeing the energy that was showed in the gym here. And I think they're really looking forward to what that whole season is going to look like. Just the whole evolution from the spring through to that championship next spring is going to be fun to prepare for, and all the little things we got planned for it is going to be great.